Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Thomas, and today's video is going to be getting back to my interview questions series. Really wanted to get back to this series. It's been a few weeks, and I do think it's an important one right now with a lot of you out there possibly looking for jobs. And today's video is going to be talking about the question that you often get asked in a UX interview about how do you build strong relationships and maintain strong relationships with other designers on your team, other businessy types on your team, and more importantly, probably with this question, how you build and maintain strong relationships with developers on your team. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into it on this one. This is a loaded question. It's not something that you may think is important at face value with all the other questions that you're going to get asked during one of these interviews, but this is an important one because it's the UX interviewer or the hiring manager really trying to uncover what type of personality you are, what type of person you are. Are you gonna be the designer that comes in and tries to overtake the project and bulldoze everyone else, and you're this prima donna type that thinks their design and their solutions are the best? Or are you the type of person that's going to come in and find out how they can fit into the puzzle and best fit the team to solve problems as a team? Product design, UX design, and really just building software and applications and products in general is a finely tuned dance. It's something that all the members on your team need to work together effectively and efficiently to build great solutions. If designers and developers don't work well together, then the product just falls apart real quick. So when you're in your interview, you need to talk about this. You need to really touch on this point, and you need to focus on how you as a designer try to come in and you try to shepherd these relationships with all members on your team, with the testers, the POs, the businessy types, the uppity ups, and the developers, and about how you really want to build strong relationships to build a better product. The designer-developer relationship specifically, though, in this dance is probably the most important to have a successful product, because you need to have a clean handoff of your ideas, your concepts, your vision for something to the developer and allow them to implement it the way that you see the future of that product being. It's really a yin-yang type relationship. If it's not working out well, then the product is going to suffer and it's going to fail. And I've been on both sides of the fence with this. I've been the designer over the years. I've been the developer over the years. As a developer, it's never good if you have this pig-headed designer come in that's a prima donna type. They just try to bulldoze everyone else, and they think that their designs are the best, their ideas are the best, and developers have no idea what they're talking about. Likewise, it's annoying if you are the designer going into a brand new job and you have that developer that's been there for years, or this person that just refuses to take any type of feedback or change to their current application and they're stuck in their ways. Those types of relationships will just grind and grind and grind. It may start out okay, but over the years, it's just going to get worse and worse, and it's going to affect the overall value and quality of that product. So how do you highlight in your interview that you're good at building and maintaining these relationships, especially with developers? The best way that I found over the years is to really talk about the process as a whole. And I like to do this with talking about design thinking. I like to highlight the fact that to kick off any project, of course, if there's time, and of course, if it's a big enough project or big enough feature enhancement, that I like to start off with design thinking sessions. Even if it's just a short 1-2 day session, I like to highlight the fact that I involve everyone, and I try to involve everyone when time allows on a project like this. You get them in the room, the UX researchers, the stakeholders, some of the uppity ups, you get other designers in there, you get testers in there, and most importantly, you get developers in there, and everyone helps build the initial stages of this product. I think it's important as designers that we try to involve everyone in our process. We try to show them what we do. I think a lot of times it's looked at as we get a set of requirements and then all of a sudden we go do some magic and everything is done, and we come back with this perfectly formed mock-up or prototype, and it's the way forward. That is not at all, as many of you know, how our job works. We do a lot of thinking. We do a lot of research. We do sometimes hundreds of mocks on a project to get it just right. We do competitive analysis, all kinds of other things. If we highlight this stuff to other people on our team, we show them what we're doing, and we involve them in this process of building a design and thinking through some of the solutions, it makes people feel like they're part of the product and part of the solution. Another super effective tool here to highlight is if you know any amount of code. If you learn code over the years, HTML and CSS, even the basics, it goes a long ways to showing that you can bridge that developer-designer relationship and build effective relationships moving forward. It's because you can speak the language. It's because you know what's doable when you know a little bit of code. You're able to not go into that black hole or that vacuum and emerge with this amazing design and hand it off. Because I've seen this happen so many times over the years. And I think it's a lot of what causes this like butting heads between designers and developers and ineffective relationships. And that's that the designer creates this amazing thing. They show it to all the uppity ups and the POs and everyone and get sign off because of course they're going to love it. It's this amazing design that's super functional or whatever. And then you take it to the developer and they're like, no, we can't do any of that because of either time, because of limitations with the software, the libraries they're using, or just maybe not enough team members or not enough experience level to build something like that. Those things are something that you can really touch on in an interview and talk about how you can code a little bit, you can bridge that gap, maybe you can create a design system that allows the developer not to even worry about the front end or the style of things, and that they can just basically do their back end work or their mid-tier work and not focus on making pixel perfect designs, because most developers hate CSS. That's a big thing in the industry, that most of the developers I've met hate CSS. So you are going to be number one on their list if you come in and you know any amount of CSS and HTML to help them build this product more efficiently and more effectively. And if you don't know how to code, that's okay too. Just touch on how you like to build out really detailed redline documents where you call out the hover states and the inactive states, and you really get into the details of the padding and the colors, and you make sure that you give them a fully thought out design and not just the initial mock that shows this picture perfect thing, because we all know that applications have many different states, many different looks and feels depending on where you're at. Make sure that you're providing mocks and stuff for all of the inactive states and all of the error messages and things that you might not think about when you're building out your designs. And if you can touch on how you think holistically about that delivery process and that handoff process, that too will go a long ways to showing that you can build effective developer relationships. Don't forget to touch on your effective relationships with other designers as well, because this can be just as much of a problem if you don't have good, smooth relationships with other designers on your team if there's more than one, and there often is. So a way I like to approach this is talking about how I like to really encourage team thinking. So often I will try to set up a weekly meeting, bi-weekly meeting, where all members of the UX team or the design team get together and do a group think on someone's project. So maybe one designer is working on a specific project, they're stuck on something, or they just want feedback, and we focus all of that team's creative energy towards this one project, and we tear it apart or we think through different solutions. Maybe they're having a hard time coming up with a solution, and we can all collectively come up with something together, because group think and thinking through this with a diversity of viewpoints and a diversity of thought to solve a problem will often come up with some of the best solutions. And as kind of a diversion of this as well, I often like to encourage that you start a Slack or a Teams room or Skype or whatever, and you involve all members of the design team in this room. And then if you're working on a project and maybe you have an A/B thing that you're looking at, or you just want some feedback on a design, you can post those screenshots in that Teams room and just get kind of passive feedback on that design and have others put their input on what you proposed. And this can be really effective to solving problems as well and helping build those relationships with other designers. So ultimately with this interview question, it's all about team. You want to focus on how you work together as a team, how you think through problems as a team, how you solve things as a team, and that you are a team player, because that is the core and the root of what builds effective relationships with everyone on that team and builds better products. All right, so hopefully this video helps one of you out there land your next job and answer some of these questions more effectively, so you don't get that deer in the headlights look when you get asked this question during a UX interview. If you did enjoy this and you got some value, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell if you want to be notified of future videos on the channel like this one in the future. And thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video.